Tesla stock is currently trading at $219.48 per share, up almost 1% today, and we have all of your Tesla stock breaking news. As well as that, we did hear from Fed Kashkari that says we need to cut rates more, that we're still in restrictive territory. You also have some news out of Iran that I will share with you. Not to mention the multiple price target adjustments on Tesla stock, in which we'll start with that. President Capital downgrades Tesla to neutral from buy, adjusts their price target to $245 per share from $255 per share, but that's still representing upside of about 10%. Evercore ISI adjusts Tesla's price target to $195 per share from $145 per share. They keep their inline rating. So that was a bearish firm on Tesla with, again, a $145 price target that raised their price target to $195. That can be looked at as good news today. Elon Musk confirms the grid fins on SpaceX's Super Heavy rocket cluster are powered by electric motors supplied by Tesla. The Cybertruck's exterior is made from the same proprietary stainless steel alloy as SpaceX's Starship. The cross-pollination between Tesla and SpaceX is underappreciated. Option activity in Tesla stock today is also quite positive. You have seen 97 different trades from hedge funds and institutions, totaling $101.64 million with a positive order value of 69%. Tesla's short interest of free float sits at 2.67%. You currently have $16.15 billion sold short in Tesla stock, totaling 74.14 million shares that are currently sold short. We don't have any data on the amount of shares that are being sold short today or being covered on, but I can imagine Tesla stock's up 1%. You're probably seeing some short covering continuing. We've kind of seen this over the past couple of weeks. Short interest has consistently been falling. And markets, generally speaking, are going through a pretty extreme short squeeze as we make this video. The markets, the S&P is up another 0.74% today, almost 6 green days in a row. And really at this point, markets are just going higher to go higher. There's no justification for this. There's no reason for this. Earnings estimates are actually falling for Q3, which is the current quarter that we're going to start getting reports on, Q4, as well as 2025 earnings estimates. They're all coming down. Markets should not be rallying like they are, but sometimes markets do wonky things for periods in time. Also worth mentioning, the RSI on the SPY is also getting a little overextended at 68.56. So you're almost technically in overbought territory, which things are going to get really weird here because with earnings estimates falling for Q3, and again, really for Q4 as well as 2025 earnings estimates are falling. Markets should not be rallying, but they are rallying. And then the bar for earnings is lowering, so it's going to be easier for companies to beat. Does that continue to send markets higher, or do we face the reality that earnings are actually slowing down? I don't know at this point. I've never seen a market just rip higher as earnings estimates are plummeting. And to be quite frank, you guys have never seen a market where markets are going higher and earnings estimates are plummeting. They have historically always followed each other. Earnings estimates fall, markets fall. Earnings estimates rise, markets rise. Not the opposite. And just in case you missed it, the big news yesterday was Elon Musk confirming there is more to come for Tesla and Tesla's unveilings, which was heavily alluding to a lower priced Tesla product, presumably called the Model 2, coming by midpoint of next year. That's really what Wall Street is waiting for Tesla. That's what is going to kick off the next leg of growth for Tesla and ultimately kick off a larger rally for Tesla stock. NVIDIA's CEO Jensen Huang praises Elon Musk's understanding of engineering, which I would say is a huge compliment coming from NVIDIA's CEO, which of course they have known each other for a very long time. Lars Mori confirms all Teslas will be robotaxi ready. This includes hardware 3. So there has been some concern as of recently that older Teslas with hardware 3 potentially are not going to be compatible for a robotaxi network, that you may actually have to get a newer car to be able to use your car on the robotaxi network, which may be the case. I mean, Lars Mori is confirming that hardware 3 will work, but you may still need a hardware 4 vehicle, which wouldn't be all too bad. It would prompt people to buy a new Tesla. Google's CEO Sundar Pichai congratulates Elon Musk in landing the Starship on the tower in which it launched from. Now, it is official. Markets have done it. We are now in extreme greed on CNN's Fear and Greed Index, with a previous close of 74 coming in at greed. Today, you're at 77, which is extreme greed. Market momentum is extreme greed. Stock price strength, extreme greed. Stock price breadth, extreme greed. Put and call options, greed. Market volatility, neutral safe haven demand, extreme greed. And junk bond demand in greed. Keep in mind though, while markets are soaring higher to a new all-time high today, it's actually a federal holiday. It's Columbus Day. Banks are closed. Bond markets are closed. So it's kind of hard to say this is a real rally, if you will, because basically all of big money is not in the office today. This is like just retail investors and algorithms. And you can see this via the volume today. So we are more than halfway through the trading day at the time of recording this video, and the volume on the SPY is 14 million. That means if we even double that, we're going to come in at 28 million, which is almost half of what we did on Friday. So this is a low liquidity, low volume rally, and those are not always the most accurate reflections of actual market strength. But nonetheless, Tesla stock is loving this. Yet again, today you found support at this 100-day moving average with a low wick here. You actually hit a low of $213.75 or so today. Bounce back up. Now you're above 220. If we can close above 220, that's going to be a step in the right direction. That's for sure. Tesla's RSI currently sits at 40.36, which is below neutral of 50. So you're definitely a little bit on the oversold side. MACD line's barely positive, positive 0.50. Signal line is positive 5. So when this yellow line does go negative, that can be a sign of potentially further weakness to come. So we'll want to watch this closely to see if some of this bottoming price action over the last 2 days we've seen in Tesla stock is a reflection of maybe strength getting a little bit better as well. And really, as long as we stay above that 100-day moving average, things are not too bad for Tesla. If we can get back above that 50-day moving average, which is at $225.56 per share, things are going to look a lot better for Tesla. Now, here on the day today, we did get a speech from Fed Kashgari. Fed Kashgari says the neutral rate is likely higher now than pre-pandemic, something we've heard many times before from Fed members. But he also says the neutral rate will rise if U.S. debt continues to rise. So I don't know how accurate that is because U.S. debt is always going to rise. But he does say that monetary policy is still in restrictive stance. And he does say further modest rate cuts appear appropriate. In other news today, Iran announces a halt to indirect discussions with Washington amid regional tension. This comes after yesterday, the U.S. military announced that they are deploying 100 U.S. troops to Israel to operate a THAAD detection system. Now, that's obviously kind of getting us into that conflict, putting boots on the ground, even though it's not an active kind of shooting conflict from the U.S. standpoint, it's still putting boots on the ground in Israel, which is not exactly the best action possibly could have been made. From a de-escalatory kind of standpoint, that's just not good. It was also reported today that if Israel strikes only certain targets during its retaliation attack, that Iran will not retaliate back. So there could be some maybe bluffing that happened on Iran's part, maybe this does not lead to a larger regional war. And from that perspective, that could be one reason why markets are also moving higher. And oil today is falling about 2%. I would imagine that's the reason. But as you can see, the VIX is still sitting at very elevated levels, considering markets are at a new all-time high. The VIX at 19.80, only down about 3.23% today. Again, considering it's like every day we're hitting a new all-time high, is still kind of concerning. But also in the news today, China may issue $6 trillion in wons in treasury bonds over 3 years. That equals about $850 billion in potential additional stimulus, or at least that's how the markets are taking that today. Which is good news for Tesla, since China is now Tesla's most important market. And you want to know why earnings estimates are falling so much for Q3, Q4, and 2025? Well, look no further than this post from Fundstrat. Of the 31 companies that have reported so far, 6% of the S&P 500, overall 74% are beating estimates, and those that beat are beating by a median of 6%. Of the 23% missing, those are missing by a median of 10%, negative 10%. That is a crazy number. On the top line, overall results are beating estimates by a median of 2%, unimpressive, and missing by a median of negative 2%. And 58% of those reporting are beating estimates. 58%, it's not a very good number. And you can see exactly what I'm talking about here. Markets and Mayhem reports that earnings revisions for Q3 have been revised down quite a bit, meaning the bar is much lower ahead of this earnings season. You can see Q3 estimates have fallen more than 5%, which is just mind-blowing that stocks are still doing this well. Q4 estimates have now fallen over 1%, and 2025 estimates are going back to close to 0%, which again, given this, it's gonna make it seem like earnings estimates are great and beating expectations across the board, but the actual expectations have went dramatically lower. Now, good news for Tesla stock investors is you can see over here on Google Trends data, you're starting to get a pickup in all Tesla products. The Model Y recently going from 22 to 25, the Model 3 going from 20 to 23, the Model S from 9 to 11, and the Model X from 8 to 9. You can also see the Cybertruck has recently gone from 42 to 51. Sentiment over on StockTwits for Tesla is bullish at 65. Yesterday, it was neutral at 47. Message volume is normal at 51. Yesterday, it was low at 43, and the participation ratio is high at 56. Tesla continues to run about 4,000 different ads with Google. The percent of stocks today trading above their 50-day moving average is up to 65.5%. You have 1.76% of all stocks breaking above that 50-day moving average, up 3% today. So it's not a great day for broader markets, but it's not a bad day either. You really have your Mag 7 that is pushing markets higher. You have Apple up 1.3%, Nvidia up 2.7%, Google up 1.2%, Meta up 1%, and Microsoft up 1%. If you look at the equal weight S&P via the RSP, that is the ETF for the equal weight S&P, you're only up 0.58% today. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what you think about all of this information down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. You guys have a safe rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.